Good day for Telesur. I'm Cody Weddle in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin in Mexico and continue with our special coverage of the 43 missing students in the state of Guerrero. Protests and demonstrations will continue Thursday as people demand answers from the government on the whereabouts of the students of Ayotzinapa. Meanwhile, the United Nations Human Rights Commissioner Zeid Ra'ad Al Hussein calls the students' case deeply disturbing. The United States also issued a statement on the case expressing its worries over escalating tensions and calling for calm. And for the very latest, we go to our correspondent in Mexico, Clayton Kahn.
With the whereabouts of the 43 disappeared Ayotzinapa students still unknown nearly 7 weeks since police attacked them in Iguala, Guerrero, fellow classmates and family of those missing announced yesterday that they will launch a nationwide caravan starting today. In the announcement, a student and one of the spokesmen of the Ayotzinapa school, Omar Garcia, said there will be 3 groups that will also include the presence of civil and human rights organizations that will travel to the northern and southern states of the country, as well as 1 group that will travel the state of Guerrero. Now, according to the families and students, the mission of the caravan is to inform the rest of the country the context and reality of what is occurring in the state of Guerrero. The 3 groups are scheduled to converge in Mexico City on November 20th, a national holiday to commemorate the Mexican Revolution, and a day that organizations are calling for a nationwide strike. This is Clayton Kahn reporting here for Telesur here in the Mexican capital.
And thanks to Clayton, we go just south of Mexico now to Guatemala. That's where small farmers are demanding protection from the effects of African palm oil plantations. The farmers are demanding laws to shield them against water contamination that has affected several rural communities. Thursday marks the 3rd day of protests organized by the Committee of Small Farmer Unity. Now, on Wednesday, at least 8 people were injured in clashes with police. The organizations are urging a rural development law which takes into consideration the problems faced by farmers. And to Peru, social movements are demanding that the Peruvian government take stronger measures to protect the environment. Rural communities are concerned over the lack of accountability by the authorities on mining mega projects and by 2 proposed laws which seek to incentivize private investment in natural resources. Their demands come as Lima is just a few days away from hosting the United Nations Climate Change Conference. In other Latin American news, Venezuelan Foreign Minister Rafael Ramirez arrived in Qatar this Wednesday, where he will meet with local authorities over the next few days. Ramirez is visiting the country for the 2nd time during his tour around OPEC countries and petroleum exporters. The Venezuelan government hopes to unify a position among oil-producing countries against overproduction, which has led to a recent 25% fall in oil prices. And in Uruguay, where the country is preparing for the 2nd round of presidential elections set for November 30th, the Electoral Court has announced that the ballots for the contest are ready. The ballots will display both Tabaré Vázquez and Luis Lacalle and their respective vice presidential candidates in a black and white photo. According to the latest numbers, Vázquez from the Broad Front Party is leading with 53% of the votes compared to 38% for Lacalle. We move now to Ecuador, where many families that were formerly dependent on government welfare programs are rising out of poverty. Our correspondent Liz Sherfius brings us more on the trend from Quito.
The family of Maria Clemencia Chicaiza has always raised animals on the slope of the Pichincha volcano above Quito, but with little success due to harsh weather conditions and a lack of resources for adequate care. Since 2007, her family has benefited from the increased social investment of the Citizens' Revolution and was a former recipient of the Human Development Credit. As a result, her conditions have improved and she now receives a microcredit to support the family business. This means she has now increased her operation from 2 pigs to 18 and is looking to expand.
Maybe they stopped giving us the credit because we were progressing, we were moving forward. So when they were doing the surveys, we told them that we have our business raising animals, so now we have many more possibilities.
emprendiendo, o sea, criar los animalitos, entonces que ya teníamos más salida.
Maria Clemencia is one of the 1,100,000 people that has come out of poverty since the beginning of the Citizens Revolution in 2007. Minister of Economic and Social Inclusion Betty Tola attributes the reduction from 37% to 25% of the population living below the poverty line to increased investment in health, education, and employment programs.
Nosotros hemos podido durante estos años percatarnos y
In recent years, families with access to the Human Development Credit have developed and established around 100,000 businesses. This has been very positive for these families because what it does is boost and contribute to these endeavours that the families already have.
dar un empujón a los emprendimientos que ya tenían en curso las familias.
Under the social investment of the Citizens Revolution, families like Maria Clemencia's have been given the conditions to leave poverty through initiatives such as the Human Development Credit and the possibility for professional development through microcredits. Liz Scherfias, Telesur, Ecuador.
Thanks to Liz. We take a look around the world now and we go to Syria, where Western-backed rebel forces are losing ground to the Islamic State. Now, since the United States began its air raids over the country, the situation has turned in favor of the Islamic State and the al-Qaeda-affiliated al-Nusra Front, which now control the east and northwest of the country. Rebel forces have been pushed back to the southern provinces bordering Jordan. And in Ukraine, the NATO military bloc has accused Russia of launching a military buildup in the east of the country. According to a NATO commander, Russian troops have been seen crossing into Ukrainian territory. Moscow denied the allegations, stating that there has been no evidence to support the claims. Kiev announced Wednesday that it will send more troops into the east of the country, raising concerns of a renewal of the conflict that had been partially stalled by peace talks. And in the United States, over 100,000 nurses went on strike yesterday to demand better training and improved sanitary conditions for potential not properly prepared for a possible Ebola outbreak. The strike comes on the heels of statements made by the Center for Disease Control assuring the contrary during a Senate hearing.
We are demanding that we be prepared for Ebola, that we have the training that we need to don the equipment that we need and how to take those equipment off. We also demanding that we have fair staffing ratios on all units.
Taking a look at sports, Brazilian soccer superstar Pelé was hospitalized Wednesday. The Brazilian veteran is now recovering. According to the doctors, the former soccer player arrives to the hospital with a strong abdominal pain. After several exams, the health workers determined Pelé had a case of non-life-threatening food poisoning. The player and FIFA official reportedly says he's feeling much better. He is expected to leave the hospital soon. Get well soon. More on those stories and others at our website, telesurtv.net/English. For Telesur English, I'm Cody Weddle. Have a great day.